the drill. You mute yourself.
Roger that.
And I will start the stream. And we are live! Greetings, everyone!
Greetings, everyone. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah so far. And boy, oh boy, we got some exciting news for everyone. But first of all, my friend Hunter, did you watch the Game Awards? Because boy, oh boy, it was a splendid and fantastic one.
I did indeed watch it, my friend, my soul's friend. It was almost too good to be true. One moment while I just check if the volume's.
Yes.
Okay, it's working. Thank you very much. Anyway, so what to say? What to say, my beautiful friend?
Well, there was a lot of nominations for God of War Ragnarok, which I will say is an interesting game of a narrative standpoint. But the winner, drumroll, is none other than Elden Ring!
Good mundo. And it was a really tense match last night, wasn't it? Well, I wouldn't say match, but very intense.
Yes, between narrative and functional gameplay, between an open world adventure game, between a story-driven narrative.
Mm-hmm. And quite a few announcements as well, especially the one that from another From game that was announced during the Game of the Year, during the awards. Looks like for those who are a big fan of the Armor Core series, there's a new one coming out soon.
Yes, and I am very much excited for that.
But I digress. I think I will talk about the Armor Core series as it comes out. Right now, we've only got it's like I will talk about it, even though this is a Souls channel. I still say that it's still really cool to talk about it because it's by From, and it's one of their older IP, even older than Kingsfield, if you can believe it or not. Yeah, we like to think that Kingsfield was like the moneymaker for From. No. That was a niche game. What was really popular for them was the Armored Core series before Dark Souls.
Yes. And then they created something known as Demon Souls, and then it went on from there.
Yeah, we created
thing, and now we are here.
We are definitely.
Oh, my friend, we got some articles here. 2 of them, as a matter of fact, which is about.
We can talk. We were going to talk about this a little longer, my friend, because there's so much to talk about. Like, for example, like, oh boy, like, okay, have you been looking around the internet? There have been a lot of mixed reactions, especially by a lot of God of War fans. I feel like remember the whole situation.
Hmm. There has.
I personally think that basically that they were expecting this to be the From killer. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
Sony fans lost for the remember Horizon Forbidden West, or do you remember Horizon
Mhm.
Forbidden West?
I sure don't.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, but I digress.
Yeah, I think we both are.
But I digress. But I digress. But I digress. But I had a feeling that they thought that this was the opportunity, that this would be the Elden Ring killer. They actually thought God of War Ragnarok would be the Elden Ring killer, if you know what I mean. It's like, look, I am not. Look, I'm not here to cause problems. I'm not here. I will played the first God of War, and I can assure you, it definitely deserves its. It deserves its. It deserves its title as Game of the Year. I do disagree with that. It's got great characters, combat. I do have a problem with the bosses, though, but that's nitpicking. I could nitpick about Elden
Mhm.
Ring's bosses, but I digress.
Maybe we can get into it in a different podcast episode sometime later, because I would love to go in depth about it, because I'm so much a God of War nerd about it. Played all of them, especially the newest ones. And I
Surprisingly,
cannot wait for the next one after Ragnarok.
I played 1, 3, God of War, and I played. I might think of getting. Yes, unlike Horizon fans, I might try Ragnarok, but I digress. So the point
Yes.
is that basically there's been a lot of. So our favorite YouTuber whose name begins with a Q and has a TV in his name. I dare not shell his full name out.
Hmm.
Has basically gone on his channel about a bit of a rant, saying that he's kind of angry that Elden Ring won Game of the Year. Which I think anybody who's kept up with the drama llama with him should have known this was a thing, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, by the way, if you try to copyright strike this video, Quantum, I will report you to the EU Commissions for violating European Union law, so don't try it.
Yes. Well said. Well said.
If you do that,
But
you are. I'm gonna just. If you do that, you are breaking EU law. I will send this copyright. I will send a screenshot of the copyright strike along with this video to show you have been violating my laws. So be careful. And I'll, anyway, I'm just standing my ground. Okay, I don't want to look weak.
well said.
Anyway,
But let's not focus on the negative, because we got so much positive to spread
I
around
know.
this Christmas
I
year.
I know, but I want to just talk about the drama news because it's like, when will I be able to talk about this again? So I want to get it all out and just.
That is very much true.
We can talk about the negatives. We can look if we talk about the negatives, it'll help enhance the positives. Let's be frank.
Yeah, that it can be true.
So yeah, there's even this guy named I went on Twitter a few like when after the Game Awards just to see how it went, and oh boy, a lot of fanboys were crying how God of War should have won Game of the Year. It's just it's look. I'm not trying to be like the whole ha you win. Look, it was a stiff competition, and to be fair to the Elden Ring fans, I mean God of War fans, you did win more nominees than Elden Ring did, so you have you have that to boast over. To be fair, so best. So I know you guys didn't win Game of the Year, but in the hindsight, you did get more, awards.
More nominations. That's
Yeah.
right. You did get more awards.
Yeah, so it's not like a total loss.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, like
I would say it was a trade-off and such.
Yeah, it was. Let's be fair. Like, look, we can all agree that games we love and hate, but we can all agree that we just gotta it's the Game Awards. Sure, we were all excited and happy about the winners and nominees, but at the same time, end of the day, it's just a glorified public, show. There are plenty of games that I love. Like, for example, I've been playing Metal Gear Rising Revengeance again. I would have thought, I looked back, it didn't even get nominated. Actually, look up. Did Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance get any Game Awards nominee when it came out?
I think so.
Yeah, but I think the game was actually pretty good. I've actually replayed it a lot, and I've had more fun with it than ever before. It's a pretty good game. I'm just because a game doesn't win Game of the Year doesn't exactly mean it's bad. Hardly. I think I think most people would agree that there's this notion that if it didn't win Game of the Year, it must be mediocre or something, right? Darc, or am I just thinking that?
Well, that's usually a general population because usually people would want something that they would like to be the big dog to be that'd be for compensation for something that they believe in to be very holster significance to. That's
Am I
usually a human trait and such that happens with us.
Am I saying that God of War Ragnarok is bad? No, I've played the first one,
No.
and Dark's played it, and he knows that it's pretty good. So,
Oh, it's more than good. It's a great experience. I really
Excellent.
recommend it.
thank you, exactly. So, I'm not trying to basically say, look, I know I sound snobbish at the beginning, saying that, I'm sorry if I sounded like, I was just happy. I was putting my money, and to be fair, if God of War Ragnarok won, I would have still praised it and said, "Congratulations, God of War, you've won the Game of the Years." I would have.
Honestly, I would have done the same thing because it's a win-win for me.
It's a win-win for you. I can get that, but it would have been just saying, "I bow out," saying, "I bow out."
Although, if they did mention something about Bloodborne, I would be freaking out.
I think anybody here on this. Speaking of Bloodborne, speaking of that game, remember what game just got announced? An old Sony IP that just got announced for PC. It wasn't Bloodborne. Last of Us Part. It was the Last of Us Part 1 that was announced for PC. Really, guys?
Yes.
Like, really, Sony? Really? You couldn't have announced two games coming to PC? Bloodborne and The Last of Us? Look, I know, I'm sounding bitter, but I want Bloodborne to come to PC, for God's sakes.
I think almost everyone does because we're getting tired of 30 FPS.
Agreed. We're all good.
But it still runs pretty smoothly for a 30 FPS, I will say.
If it was 60 FPS, it would be a lot
Yeah.
smoother.
Yes. Kind of roughish, especially when the frame drops for one sitting when it's loading in.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that's very, very true. And what
But
else?
hey,
what else I wanted to? Oh,
at
yes.
least it's not as bad as the frame dropped in Blighttown.
I will say this every time we bring it up, but when I was playing Dark Souls Remastered, Blighttown was my vein. I was thinking,
Yep.
oh no, not again. I think the reason I stopped, I didn't play Dark Souls, I didn't like Blighttown because of how the frame stuttering. But when I played the Remastered and Blighttown, I thought, well, nice to know they actually fixed that bug. Not that bug, but the problem. Ugh.
And this is why I usually go to Blighttown first with the keys and go the shortcut way instead of going the long way.
I never had that foresight to do that, sadly. Yes, and another news. Another YouTuber named The Amazing Lucas. You ever heard of him? Oh, I want...
Vaguely. I've
but
heard of the
before
name.
Before
Has
I
he
go
gotten
on...
drama?
Before that, congratulations, Ludwig, the biggest content creator so far, for winning the Game of the Year award. Congratulations. I want to just... I wanted to bring that up in case someone forgot I mentioned it, and I just want to congratulate Ludwig. Hats off. Anyway, yes. So basically, he had a stream yesterday calling "Let's Watch the Game Awards God of War Trash Elden Ring."
How'd that turn out for you?
It didn't go well. Let's just say he was. I don't know if he was a joke or not, but he made very. And you know me, Darc. I use these words very lightly, if ever, on streams. But the point is that he was making very racist remarks, basically saying that this was a conspiracy by like the Chinese people, and that basically that basically this was just anti-American because Elden Ring won Game of the Year instead of God of War.
Yeah, he's just trying to start stuff. To be honest, because I can tell you this: AAA games in America right now are kind of not as high quality as the ones that From Software has been making, and I say that because I played both. They're different experiences. They're like pieces of candy. For an example, God of War right now is like milk chocolate with mint. It's a nice thing, but yet From Software is like milk chocolate with caramel.
I was half expecting you to say milk chocolate with chili in it.
Well, I mean, another comparison would be like dark chocolate versus milk chocolate, but that's safe for another thing, and I usually use that terminology for Willy Wonka.
Fair enough. Goodness, my key's got a lot of oil smudges. Need to clean it up later. I don't know why I brought that up. Anyway, so we've got some articles that I actually want to talk about because they are actually pretty interesting. Oh, one other thing. Remember that kid that basically snuck up behind everybody else?
Yeah. Oh boy. I mean, there's a whole article dedicated to him, and boy, oh boy, when I found that, I was like, I mean, at first it was funny, but then I was like, what's going on here? Is this a joke, your son?
No, but when I saw it, I was peeved off a little bit. Yes, people are saying that, it brings spice to the Game of the Year awards. There's bringing spice, and then there's being disrespectful. And the brat was more of the disrespectful camp than the spicy camp.
Yeah.
Not for the political reasons. It was because he just interrupted a momentous occasion for Miyazaki. Granted, I grant him this, though. Yes, he basically was quiet during the whole event. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything at all. I'll give him that, okay? You want me to just give him a little credit because people are then going to hate me for saying it. Yeah, so anyway, let's watch that articles.
Well, all right.
Read it.
Well, yes, watch the articles. Yes. Cute. All right, let us begin with this article. The Game of the Year Award 2022. Why did God of War Ragnarok lose to Elden Ring?
By the way, I'm already on it, so I'm just keeping the live chat up. I'm just keeping an eye on the live chat.
Mm-hmm. So let us begin. The 9th Game Awards have just been concluded at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles a few minutes ago. And there are a total of 31 categories and 108 nominees, a triple digit to this year, but obviously all eyes are always on the main event, aka the Game of the Year Award, the big goats. And as we predicted earlier, Elden Ring walked away with Game of the Year Award 2022 along with Best Direction and Best Art Direction.
Hang on, did you say Elden?
Did
you say Elden?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I thought you did. Just making sure I didn't mishear you.
No, I didn't say God of War. Trust me.
No, I know. I thought you said the ring part funny for a second.
Like yes.
Like you said, more like wing than ring.
Oh yes. Sir, I'd like to get an Elden Wing with hot sauce.
Make that a double hot sauce for me, please.
Yes. And awards, it's beating out fan favorite God of War Ragnarok. But God of War Ragnarok didn't walk away empty-handed as it nabbed not only 1, but 6 awards, including Best Action Adventure, Best Narrative, Best Performance, Best Score and Music, Best Audio Design, and Best Innovation in Accessibility. So
by that it means basically Atreus points out everything everywhere like every other game.
Well, at least he doesn't do that as much as compared to the original God of War, like as in God of War 4.
Yeah. I still don't get it why they just didn't call it God of War 4 and then this one God of 5 Ragnarok.
Well, I mean, it's been quite a while since that, but we'll get into that another time. It was a win-win for both the games, but a few fans might be disappointed that Ragnarok lost the main one and are asking what exactly led to this defeat. Well, that is what this article is about. And over here we have IGN. I'm doing a video presentation for Game of the Year Award musical stage presentation. Winner. So
we won't get copyright strike if we watch that. I'm curious. I don't want to risk it though. I really want to rewatch it with you here, but at the same time, I'm too scared that the Game of the Year awards may copyright strike my video. I understand I'm being a bit paranoid, but I always tend to try to stay on the safe side of caution. And
so let's just say, if you want to check it out, just go and check IGN with basically today's Game of the Year, like this year's Game of the Year, and then just do the musical stage presentation and its winner.
I gotta say that the music presentation was the best I've heard in all the gaming years, and I've watched like a few of them. Like it felt epic to watch all the games. Like the music this time was perfect.
Yes, the dynamics, the timbre, and also the emotions with the tone and pitches of the music and how they transition each other were exquisite.
It was like the best montage they've ever done. Mm-hmm. Then again, I was a bit hyped for Elden Ring, so seeing that Elden Ring at the back with the music actually boosted it for me.
Yeah, it was definitely a boost. It was a base boost, if anything. So, the article then continues on with saying, let's start by mentioning all the nominees for this award, which were Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, A Plague Tale Requiem, Stray, and God of War Ragnarok. Also, be sure to check out the above attached video as it contains the epic orchestral performance in honor of all the nominees as well as the winner announcement. No disrespect to other 4 brilliant games, but we all know they basically had little to no chance of winning the award. It was blatantly clear that either God of War Ragnarok or Elden Ring was going to win this award. And we predicted, it was Elden Ring, and here's the reason for the same.
Let's be frank. Let's be 100% frank here. I think it was just, Stray. It was an interesting contender. I'll grant you that. Mm-hmm. Let's be frank. It was an interesting contender. Xenoblade Chronicles...
I would say Stray was a very weird experiment. I actually had the chance to actually play it, and you know what? It was beautiful, I will say, but it just didn't quite captivate me as much as Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok.
Speaking of that, and who was talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 after it came out? Because I completely forgot it released recently.
And I didn't even... Yeah.
And then with Horizon Forbidden West, this is again the third. This is until it was mentioned at the Game Awards, it completely slipped my mind. Why is it that game just can't retain any thoughts in my head? It's that game just is like SCP-055. It just zips out my mind that I forget about it. Then I remember it. It's confusing. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
it's funny that you should mention that because this scene seems like a whole secure, contain, and protect foundation, but I'm probably going too deep into that. So the article then continues on saying, undoubtedly, God of War Ragnarok is a tremendous follow-up to 2018's God of War and Game of the Year, and it is not only keeps the best parts of its predecessor, but also improves in it in every sense of the world. And in every other word, providing fans an epic conclusion, a heartwarming story, and some excellent boss fights. That's a maybe. A gigantic world and many well-crafted side quests. Yes.
Which one are they talking about? Elden Ring or God of War? I lost for a second.
They're talking about God of War, basically the whole. Yeah. Now take all this and add it to it. An innovative RPG elements, a bigger and seemingly endless open world, awe-inspiring combat system, and you have yourself Bandai Namco's Elden Ring. That is true.
Let's face it, for us, people say, the haters say that Elden Ring didn't innovate anything. It did. the fact that a lot of Ubisoft developers and in fact even Guerrilla Game developers were kind of angry that people liked it and it was not the same old that Ubisoft churns out every single day, and they say, "Wow, this is a breath of fresh air, a game where I can literally just sit down and go anywhere I want."
Mm-hmm.
Wow, fantastic! And
And
it doesn't handhold me constantly.
yeah, it lets you be free. It
It,
spreads the wings that we have all grown from our own nest and lets us fly
it's
amongst the birds
it's
into
not.
the heaven.
I think what it's grateful is that it's not afraid that people miss anything. I
Yes.
it's not okay. Fair enough that it's a shame that you miss something, but then again, okay, you could make the argument that the game didn't tell you anything. Like fair, but again, why should it? It's up to you to explore and figure things out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be honest, I felt the same way when I played God of War Ragnarok. But here's the thing. The side quests in Ragnarok were a lot more hand-holding, if anything. Like as if there was basically, and I quote, a father watching over a son trying to do the right thing and do stuff properly. However, in Elden Ring, it's taken that concept, but letting it be more flexible and open to the relationship of that concept. Not trying to handhold the player, which would basically be in this terms, the son of the whole relationship, and letting the game, the father of that concept, and build upon it.
It's kind of fun. It would have been funny. You know what would have been funny, Dark? Like really
What would be fun?
funny. Imagine if that Zelda: The Kingdom of Tears was actually the one that released this year instead of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Then it would have been a big three tie
Ooh.
way. That would have been more close.
Yeah, that would have been, oh boy, that would have been the biggest three tieway ever.
I think at that point that I think even Nintendo, I didn't know if they had the foresight, but I had a feeling they knew that if they released the game this year with the big with Elden Ring, it would have been too much of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, don't get me wrong. That Breath of the Wild is the hint. They should have just called it Breath of the Wild too, but I digress. Tears of the Kingdom would have had a big fight with two other big IPs. Let's face it, Elden Ring was one of the most anticipated.
Elden Ring was definitely the highly most anticipated game of this
Shame,
year.
shame.
And so was Red.
Yes, shame. I was looking forward to the comparisons between God of War, Zelda and Elden Ring. But I digress.
Well, looks like Nintendo's taking their time with their golden goose, and that's okay. So, like its predecessor, Elden Ring is full of innovation and has pushed the limits of game development. And while God of War Ragnarok is mostly the same as God of War in terms of innovation, so doesn't it make sense? Isn't it that what Game of the Year award is about, pushing the limits of gaming? But I understand that many fans, including me, hoped that God of War Ragnarok walked away with the award, but that's not fair to the very concept of these awards. But then again, credit where credit is due. Ragnarok had a brilliant story, excellent performances, mesmerizing visuals, I will give it that, and an epic soundtrack. It got recognized for all these things, and I am pretty sure that many media outlets will name God of War Ragnarok their game of the year. And that is perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm. And not to rub salt in the wounds, and I'm going to be getting more flack for this, but let's not forget Miyazaki also won Elden Ring won the Golden Joystick Awards this year for Elden Ring as well. So that's 2 awards he won this year.
Mm-hmm.
So he's accomplished a lot. And then again, if we go back to like when was Sekiro released again? 2017.
Yes, I believe it was. Hold on.
2017.
All right, Sekiro release. There it is, and let's check that. It was released on the March 2019.
Okay, I was wrong. Sorry, 2 years behind. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that 2019, there wasn't any great games that came out. Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, remake. What else was out of that year? Anyway, it wasn't exactly the high contending for the year last on 2019. So let's give it to the game that actually was pretty good and wasn't basically either incomparable or just a remake. Hey, I'm happy that Sekiro won Game of the Year. Honestly, after a long time with Dark Souls and everything, I'm happy that they won Game of the Year as for best for one of the best games.
They climbed a hell of a lot upon that mountain to reach the top. And I expect them to go even further heights with their next IP.
And hopefully with the DLC that Miyazaki.
Yes, DLC. Oh, yes. I'll be very, very excited. Speaking of which, have you tried the new update for the PvP arena?
I did have a little fun with the PvP. It was fun. It was interesting. Yes.
But I cannot wait for the DLC. I hope it will surpass the Dark Souls 3 DLC, because the Dark Souls 3 DLC innovation for, I would say, Dark Souls 3 was, in my opinion, a great thing. Gale was an amazing boss, and so was Sister Fried and her father.
And let's be honest. It was a thematic. Let's be honest. Gale was a thematically excellent DLC boss. Two nobodies. Gale was basically a slave knight, basically cannon fodder, a nobody. But in the end, he basically achieved the very thing the series was named after, the dark soul of man. And we held it in our hand. We had the dark soul in our hands.
Yes. Besides, and I quote, he didn't say, "Hand it over, that thing, your dark soul, for my lady's painting."
Hearing that makes me kind of sad that Dark Souls ended.
Yes, but I would say it's a beautiful finish.
A thematic ending. The ending that basically we end the world. The Firekeeper takes out the world. The painter paints a new world from the blood of the Dark Souls. And finally, after countless deaths and rebirths, after countless resurrections, after countless deaths, our character finally finds peace. We find peace. Kind of a thematic ending. Beautiful. Anyway, I'm just nostalgic over it because it's like...
Yeah, so am I.
It's bittersweet that the Soul series ends. It's a shame that good series like this has to end, but Trollope keeps...
That's, I guess, how it is. I mean, to be honest, how did Harvey Dent say that? You either die a hero, or you see yourself live enough to become the villain.
Or in my case, in video games terms, you live to become Spec Ops: The Line. I'm quoting Yahtzee, by the way. You live to become Spec Ops: The Line or the new Call of Duty. I quoted that from Yahtzee, so don't go into comments saying I stole it from him. I basically quoted, it was Ben Yahtzee Crozier by him, one of his 0 punctuations. I enjoy his works, and I fairly quoted it, but when I do try quoting it, I do mention that I quote from him because he makes some good points. By the way, Spec Ops: The Line is actually one of the best shooters you've not played. I think I mentioned
really into games that are kind of flown under the radar. I recommend a PlayStation 3 classic, Asura's Wrath, but we'll get into that another time.
We'll get it. But anyway, let's finish this article. We've
way too much.
Yeah, I just let bragging along too much from me.
Yes, so do we. But as I mentioned above, for the Game Awards, no matter how much I would love for Ragnarok to win, Elden Ring is a flawless game and frankly deserved the win. The only problem some fans had with Elden Ring was that the main character isn't voiced.
Okay, first off, flawless, that's a bit of a statement. It has a lot of flaws in it, and I'm before all the Elden Ring fans, you don't like it. I can be healthy enough to admit when a game has flaws. Does it have flaws? Oh boy, it does.
Oh boy, it does. But hey, its flaws were so minimalistic compared to what it got right that I still kept playing.
Same here. I found it quite annoying, but somehow I still managed to push through playing. And the fact that
main characters who aren't voiced are very hard to do, but when they're done right, and they stick with you.
And the thing is, this is you create your own character. So the problem is, yeah, you could say you could have different voice lines by different voice actors, but that's just more work and kind of needlessly complicated.
Yeah.
So that's why they only just say have silent protagonists. Sure, there's dialogue options, but you could just imagine yourself talking for that.
Yeah, besides, if there was dialogue, I didn't want to have a cringy voice actor doing all the lines it says in Fallout 4.
Yeah, so how you say it, you could say it's hit or miss, but honestly, I think I would prefer the tarnished silent. Otherwise, we'd have the Aloy problem again. She just doesn't know when to be quiet.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't fully immerse them. But, however, many would argue that having an unvoiced main character further immerses them. True, like we have said here. So that's really a matter of personal preference. So again, there was absolutely no fair reason for it to lose the award. All its innovations aside, the game offers you longer playable hours as its main story alone takes around 60 hours to complete. And some users have played it for over 6,000 hours.
I think hitting me 6,000
hours itself shows how wonderful this game truly is.
6,000. I've just clocked over 1,000 hours on Skyrim. That's maybe like 100 hours minimum, maximum 200.
Let's just say if they are playing for 6,000 hours, let's just say hopefully they have either be one of them two things. They're either good at the game or else they're so bad they're still trying to beat Milena.
No comment.
Press F to summon let me solo her.
I have to say this. I know we're sidetracking, but this is my podcast. This is my podcast, so I could do it. But anyway, I gotta admit that only in the Souls community would you get Let Me Solo Her. And the fact that JT Music did a single for the guy shows that the guy is legendary in our community.
Yeah. Became the new giant dad, man. He's became the reincarnation of that guy, man. He's became a legend amongst the people.
Yes, it's basically beautiful. So this is the only I know that, but this is the only thing you'll find in the Souls community. That basically a guy just puts a pot on his head, 2 katanas, and bare naked, and he just takes on the hottest boss. Like, no problem.
Man, I haven't seen crazy shit like that ever since I played Goat Simulator 3. Oh, wait!
Anyway, let's continue. We've got...
So, to conclude, I'd say I understand the disappointment of the humongous fandom of God of War who were waiting for this epic conclusion, which indeed was highly satisfying. But then again, story alone isn't what the Game of the Year award is about. Therefore, I think it is okay to see Kratos lose to something for once. Well said. Well said.
Speaking of things that were very surprising, remember Lords of the Fallen? That the first ever Souls-like that's tried to copy Dark Souls?
Yeah. Let's just say copies and imitations are the biggest form of flattery.
Its sequel just got announced yesterday at the Game Awards. Yes, I knew the game was announced ages ago because I watched the Game Award because I kept on Twitter. But the fact that they actually threw the trailer really was ballsy of them.
It really was, and I'm excited.
Let's just hope it's not as bad as the first one, because I think the first one rightfully owns the name Clunky Souls.
Well said. So, shall we continue to our last article for today?
One other thing, quickly, sorry, I've got so much to talk about, so little time. I want to just get as much as my chest so that way I don't have to repeat myself next time. I'm Hades too. Actually, it's just interesting, right? Let's see how that one goes. Anyway, yes, that little brat that actually crashed the Game Awards yesterday.
Look at that smug face. He knows what he's doing.
Quick fact, doing a little sleuthing, I found out this guy... I don't know if it's true, so I'm not gonna. Don't take my word for it. But this is actually a friend of Pyrocynicals. So this is Pyrocynical's friend's friend. You know, Pyrocynical.
Oh, I bet he got dared to do this.
He did.
Oh boy. Kid crashes the Game Awards stage during Game of the Year presentation. So, let's just go on to this. A teenager crashed the Game Awards stage Thursday night to interrupt Elden Ring developers celebrating the night's Game of the Year award. Los Angeles Police Department Public Information Officer Matthew Cruz told Polygon that a person was detained at the 700 block of Chickern Court for theatrical exhibition.
Hold that thought, Darc. Hang on, Darc. Sorry, just a little heads up. I got an NFT idiot on my server. They're just gonna ban him.
Invest in crypto now.
Oh, sorry, this is going a bit off tangent. I'm so sorry, but I just got this idiot on my server. He basically says, I'm an Asian weeaboo promoter with a 61k audience full of NFT lovers and investors. I'm going to basically say, screw you, I don't do that crap. Sorry.
What do you think is more valuable, this laptop or this house?
I am so sorry that I had to derail the conversation. I just didn't want to deal with that idiot because I am getting idiots like this constantly. Idiots.
Well,
I am getting
they're going to try to scam you. They're going to try to scam you. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I'm going to basically say, no thanks. I'm not going to say I'm scam-proof. I could easily be scammed, but I'm just being a bit more cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if anybody here is watching this and they're thinking coming on my server that basically to promote their blimmin' investing idea, 1, I don't care for NFTs. 2, I will be a right clicker. So be careful. And 3, I do not need your cryptocurrency scam-a-log because I know it's a scam.
Well, then maybe you'll take the sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend. Okay, I'm done.
I will take a sponsorship of Raid Shadow Legends over those idiots any day. Just fight them.
Mm-hmm. So the article then continues on with the stage crasher told Polygon in an interview Friday that his name is Mayton Evan. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And
by the way,
he's a 15-year-old.
By the way, I want to put this out right now before anybody who's watching the streams get any idea. Anybody who doxes this kid, I will hold you responsible. You do not do this. I'm going to put this out right now.
Yes. Do not dox this kid. He's learned his lesson.
Do not threaten him. Do not anything that will basically break the law. I am telling you this right now. I do not need problems. And if anybody does it, I will deny anything. That I did not say to this. I told you specifically to dox it or do anything to the kid. I may not like the kid for what he did, but I not condone any forms of threat or violence to him. Understand?
Yeah. But hey, look on the plus side. We can make jokes about it.
It's warfare.
Mm-hmm. Mental warfare, my favorite. At the Microsoft Center, he was detained but not arrested. As host, Geoff Keighley originally suggested a report of the incident was taken at the scene. The report was not immediately available. The stagecrasher appeared to follow Elden Ring game director Hidetaki Miyazaki and his translator up the aisle and to the stage of the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles after presenter Joseph Fares announced the win. After entering the stage, he appeared to congratulate developers before standing behind Miyazaki, largely unnoticed as the creative director accepted the award. After the Elden Ring developers were unsure of the stage, the teenager approached the microphone and said, "I think I want to nominate this award to my reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton," he said.
Yeah, this is just... I don't even know what to say with this, honestly. The kid was... First of all, I'm going to be fair, I didn't even notice the kid was there until afterwards. But now, whenever I want to watch the Game Awards, the announcement, I'm going to see that little brat every time.
He's probably going to go down in history as one of the... It's probably going to bite him back, and trust me, it's going to get him back, Cartman will. But The article then continues on with, he was quickly moved off the stage as Front Software developers and presenter Fairs realized he was not actually part of the group being honored. Security personnel appeared to cut the teen off and take him off stage. The intruder was taken backstage, questioned, and then taken from the Microsoft Center to a local police station in a LAPD squad car. Shortly after the incident, Kylie closed out the show, looking rattled. Minutes later, he tweeted that the individual who interrupted our Game of the Year moment has been arrested. Polygon has reached out to Geoff Kylie for more information. Update, the story has been updated throughout the include new information from the Los Angeles Police Department. So if you want to check out anything more, look up this.
I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
This is just fantastic, honestly.
Yes, it very, very much is. So, shall we get on to another one?
Just 1 second, I just need to put. Sorry, I'm just making an announcement on our server because I need to make this very clear to anybody.
Yes. You know, his face does look familiar to me, and I don't know why, because I have never met him. He just has that face that I recognize for some reason.
So he's basically got one of those faces that you think you've seen it somewhere, but can't be sure where you've seen it. Basically.
Yes, exactly. Looks like the face that I would go to school with, and I have no idea why. Actually, his face kind of reminds me of like a kid I used to go to school with him who was the quote-unquote cool kid. His name was Armando Garcia, and boy, oh boy, he was not a cool kid. So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting a little sick. It's just me just pointing things out. Anyway, this is okay. I have it's hard for me to basically say anything that's basically just like, oh boy, it's just been a wild vibe this year. So many games, so many announcements. It's just been so fun, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. But now comes a time where we must honor those who have been lost to this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I wanted to actually bring up that, wasn't there an article I posted a while back about the Green Ranger? I wanted to just say that, yes, I gotta say, it's kind of sad. No, it was a tweet. Anyway, I wanted to just bring up that it was sad to hear that Jason David Frank passed away due to
a suicide.
It was a sad, and I know I didn't grow up on the original Power Rangers. I'm going to say that. But I did. But I did grow up on Dino Thunder as a kid. It was my favorite Power Rangers, and I enjoyed his performance.
Fun fact, I think Dino Thunder was actually the first Power Rangers that I actually watched right after Mighty Morphin.
Yeah. But I think Dino Thunders was dinosaurs. It was kind of it.
Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, it was a very sad day.
It was a sad day, and by the looks of it, he was a big fan of Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. He was.
Yes.
Now, I had the fortunate thing to actually meet him last year during I think 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, at a Comic-Con. So he was actually a very nice man. I didn't actually know him that much, but he was a very nice man. So the tweet here goes, Jason David Frank is dead at age 49 by suicide. Talon's Dragon Ball fans were inspired by the Power Rangers growing up, including me, as well as I did. Jason was the green and white Rangers of our childhoods. May he rest in power. Well, once a Ranger, always a
Ranger. And we lost another great actor, and I grew up with him, Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
It was
Kevin Conroy. My God, I miss him a lot. It was such a good thing that he had such a passion for Batman, didn't he?
But he actually didn't want to voice Batman. He actually wanted to voice the crony cop. not bad.
Yeah, I know.
It was like,
but then he got in the role of Batman, and he just stuck with it.
Let's close the stream. I think we've seen enough.
Sorry, I was lost in thought by this man.
I know.
I miss him.
I'm sorry to hear about. And he was and I want to say this now out to his family and to his friends that I'm sorry for you lost a person who was probably very dear to you and very dear to many in the nerd culture. He was.
Yes.
It was a sad. I'm sorry for the jarring tone, but I think we just. I wanted to talk about this, but because of different events, I didn't want to, and it coincided with the Game of the Year, so it was a bit of hickety-pickety mess. So blame me, and I'm sorry about that. But I just wanted to say that it's sad that we've lost quite a lot of good actors this year, like last year as well. Kevin Conroy was a man of basically who inspired many. He was the guy who basically made Batman who he is.
Yeah.
If we look back,
he was the definite go-to to be Batman and such. He was not only just the voice of Batman, but he was the voice
of Batman.
Usually, the voices go to people such as Mark Hamill
as the
Kevin
Joker.
Conroy.
Yeah, I come to the conclusion that I sometimes expect Kevin to basically be Batman because he embodies that role perfectly. Like he does such a great job about this, and I grew up on the Batman animated series when I was a kid. It was fantastic.
So did I. Not as much as Power Rangers, but I did watch.
I watched a lot of Batman animated. It was like a pretty good show.
Dark. And I have to say. It was an amazing experience.
It was basically every first kid's introduction to the DC. We could say that we watched. I gotta say this: as much as I love the MCU and all of that, I grew up watching more DC than I watched DC than Marvel when I was a kid. And I understand.
I grew up watching DC way more, and the thing is, and that's okay. I mean, the thing is, just. Marvel is about a story about superheroes becoming these godlike figures, but DC is these gods growing up to be like man.
It's an interesting dynamic. Let's think about it. Like it's so fascinating that I just don't know how to say it. It's just like pretty personal to me for a bit. I know I've never met Kevin Conroy. I would have, and I wish I did. I really wish I met Kevin.
So did I.
But like to me, Kevin was basically like the gold standard for any Batman. Like how Mark Hamill is the gold standard for any Joker, to the point that a lot of other Jokers depending on either succeed or fail being the Joker.
Mm-hmm. Like there are only other two instances where the Joker was portrayed differently. I would say that would be by Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, but that's a personal preference for mine. But I would say just the best one overall is mostly just Mark Hamill.
I know we're gonna get probably some Heath Ledger. Look, Heath Ledger was a good Joker. No one's going to deny
Heath Ledger was an amazing Joker, but there's just something about Mark Hamill that just grew me more to him.
I personally, the way I love, if you're going to put a list and I'm going to get a lot of hate, Mark Hamill, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger. Mm-hmm. Top three. They're my top three.
Top three.
No doubt about that. Nope. I I feel like that Mark Hamill I think like with Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger just had to be creepy. You know what I mean? Like he had to act scary, creepy. And I know that's part of the Joker, but when Hamill becomes the Joker, his voice alone does all the work.
Yeah. He gets his whole body into it when he's even off camera, just doing like the voice and such. And that's such an interesting concept. And interesting. I mean, for God's sake, there's only a few people that I know that are like voice actor and such, like Sam Witwer, who actually plays Star Killer and, Darth Maul in Star Wars, for an example. But just Mark Hamill is one of those rare instances where an actor just depicted a comic book source so well that it became a part of him. And so did Kevin Conroy. And it's such a shame that one of them is no longer with us.
Yes, it is. Like I know I didn't know, like, when I was a kid, I didn't know who Mark Hamill was. I was a kid, okay? I didn't know, like, who the nickname actors. I didn't grow up on Star Wars, just FYI. I did watch the prequels, then the sequels, and then the original.
Yeah, that's how I grew up too. I watched the prequels, the original trilogy, and then the sequels.
Let's not bring the sequels up too much.
Let's not bring up the sequels too much now.
It's bad luck. Anyway, the point is that look, like Mark even said himself that people thought it was a bad idea for him to voice a bad guy because he was the good guy. Like, first of all, I'm surprised with how big and successful he was after the Star Wars trilogy that he decided to become a voice actor. That was wow. Like, voice acting sadly pays less than big budget movies, which is a fact to begin with. So it's kind of sad that is. And the fact that he's saying, you know what, I'm gonna try voicing a villain, and for an animated series that probably was basically could be hit or miss. Thankfully, it was hit. So yeah, it's kind of like, wow, he did a lot of. He made He made two people's generations. He was a hero and he played a villain.
Yeah.
To the point that whenever during the Arkham games, they let them rewrite the script when need be to make sure that they kept within characters. That is true dedication and true respect to the people who voice the characters.
Exactly.
And it's kind of going to be a bit bittersweet with the new Suicide Squad game that Kevin Conroy still voices Batman, but it's going to be bittersweet. Like, I'm glad to hear his voice again, but knowing that the poor guy, that he's dead, is going to make it even sadder.
Yeah. Well,
I played all the Arkham trilogies, not Origins. I don't count that one. I had good fun with them. I loved hearing Kevin Conroy, and I loved hearing Mark Hamill just being who they are. Like, you can the Batman and the Joker. They respect each other a lot of ways. They're good friends.
Yeah, they really do. They're friends in the weirdest way.
I would think, indeed, considering the fact that Kevin was just basically a stage actor, right? And Mark Hamill was a big time actor from a pretty successful movie series.
And who would have thought that would be an excellent duo to play off for villain and hero?
I'm sorry, I'm normally more articulate at this, but this is just like so sad for me sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It was so sad whenever I found out that David Frank is no longer with us. And the thing is, I would like to say more things about him, but to be honest, that's not my place. And to be honest, that's okay.
I could say things more about Kevin. I've said a lot about Kevin, but I don't want to because because it's not my place either.
We all want to, but we gotta pay respect.
I just hope for both of the families that they are hopefully able to grieve and move on, and basically, just we can remember Kevin as the man who made our childhoods, as well as Jason as well. For me, Kevin made my childhood as Batman. I watched Batman,
Jason made more of a childhood for me as a Power Ranger.
It's a bittersweet moment this year. It's been very bittersweet.
It's sweet. But like they always say, the grass is always greener on the other side.
One thing that will always remain iconic is his line, "I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman.
Batman.
I think what was the actor who played Batman in the not the Tim Burton ones, the
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, yes. What was the actor
That
again?
would be Christian Bale. Christian Bale.
No disrespect to Christian Bale, but his deep, dark voice just stained Batman's reputation for quite long time.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was nice the first time, but it was just... It kind of sounds like he had strep throat.
I feel like every time it just made him more silly than scary, because let's be honest.
Hey, Alfred, I need some cough lozenges really quick.
Yes, and this is basically where the Lego Batman movie just got the idea just to make fun of it, because the whole community makes fun of it. Let's just roll with it. Because he basically has to have that deep voice just to sound intimidating. Well, no. He doesn't need to have a deep voice to sound intimidating. He just needs to be intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even who was the actor who played the Tim Burton ones?
In the Tim Burton ones, that would be Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, he did a good Batman, in my opinion.
He did a good Batman. But just the character of Bruce Wayne was not really that good. He did a good Batman, just not a good Bruce Wayne.
And we gotta also remember during the time, compared to today, comic book movies in the past were seen as a joke.
And yet Tim Burton looked at that, made it a gothic scenery, and that's how let's just say things have never been the same ever since.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of I'm sorry we're just gish gabbling, but I just want to just talk about a few things, and I want to and then we'll wait for the next big thing, because maybe after I finish this podcast, a few days later they'll announce the DLC officially.
Yeah.
So
they announce it tomorrow. Holy crap! You all right?
I've made several predictions, and a lot of them have come true.
We can name you the old hunter of the foresight.
I predicted the Final Fantasy Souls-like. I predicted basically, what was that a game again that basically was an android with a maid outfit? I think
that was that a Pinocchio thing we were looking at?
No, it was set in the French Revolution.
Oh, that one. Okay. God, I forgot the name of it.
Anyway, remember when I basically made the joke before we read the article? Oh, maybe they'll have her in a maid outfit, like with maid outfit, and then
there it is. Just they're slapping us right in the face.
And I had to clarify that I did not read the articles beforehand.
Yes. We were all taken back, and we were all quite laughing at it.
Yes, I'll find the clip. It was a while back, but I'm sure I'll get find it. Anyway, the point is that
this year was bittersweet.
It's been bittersweet.
We did get Game of the Year, but at what cost?
Two great actors, basically, who built me and Darc's childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make another thinking that I want to say something, but knowing me, it's gonna happen soon.
What?
Should I jinx it?
Panic does nothing. Harness it.
It's gonna be a big blow when Mark Hamill passes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be very bad when he passes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I jinxed it. I'm gonna jinx. I'm gonna read a few days from now that Mark Hamill dead.
Hopefully that's not the case, but if it happens, then I would actually kindly request for you to just stop talking.
I will stop making predictions on my stream from now on, so that way I
apparently you have control over the entire population. Quick, solve world hunger.
I don't think my power stretches out that far, but yes, let's just hope. Let's just hope I don't have this problem where basically I say, Mark Hamill, thou dead. I don't want that. I
don't think anybody wants that.
He made again. I didn't watch Star Wars until I was a little bit older, but he made Joker for me.
He made Joker for me, and he made
Well, Star Wars for a lot of others.
A lot older than us.
A lot older.
Oh, fun fact. Here's a little fun trivia fact that I don't know where I'm going to put it, but basically here. You know the same year that the Star Wars released?
Mm-hmm.
People were still being having the guillotine at that time.
Mm.
Yeah, fun fact for today. Because we haven't talked about enough death today.
Yay! Death! But with that, that's pretty much all we can talk about for now.
Yep, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about because honestly, there's only so much I can talk about and it's getting late. I was going to try to do this earlier, but complications.
Yes, complications.
Yes. But I'm sure you guys watch it on your after time and just enjoy listening to us for a bit. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the people who basically, even if you're not live on the live stream, that just basically come here and listen to the podcast afterwards. I appreciate it. It helps. It's really nice.
And just to keep in spirit, to keep the positive vibe alive, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And we hope that you have a great year and a great time, whoever you spend this wonderful season to be jolly.
I also want to add that my usual outcuts that basically if you enjoyed everything, my Twitter is down below, my Discord is also down below. Also, my what I stand earlier stands. If anybody's going to join it to try to promote NFTs or some crypto or some art that I don't want to commission because I don't want commission right now, don't join. But anybody else who wants just to chill, have fun, please join. I would love to have you. I'm getting, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, also check out Darc's YouTube channel and his Twitter, also linked down below, as usual. He's also there on my server.
Yes.
Anyway, I appreciate everybody. I hope everybody has had a good night. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, have a Happy Hanukkah, or happy whatever your religious belief is. I appreciate everything, and good night, and may the good blood guide your way, everyone.
Fear the old blood.